Friends, today I am going to share with you a story so unusual, so heartbreaking, and so full of lessons that once you hear it, you will not forget it easily. It is a story from Karachi, a city where life runs fast, where rich and poor breathe the same air but live in completely different worlds. And yet, sometimes destiny decides to collide these two worlds in a way no one expects. It was a bright morning at New Maish Chowrangi. The air was filled with the noise of car horns, impatient drivers shouting at one another, and rickshaws trying to squeeze through impossible gaps. People were in a hurry, like always. And in the middle of that traffic chaos, there stood out one vehicle, a shining white BMW, its polished body glistening under the Karachi sun. Inside the luxury car sat Imtiaz Ahmed, a respected businessman of the city. He was on his way to Lahore for an important meeting, accompanied by his trusted driver. Imtiaz was a man known not just for his wealth, but also for his calm and kind nature. Unlike others who lose their temper in traffic, he leaned back in his seat, looked at the long jam ahead, and said softly to his driver, "Brother, there's no need to rush. Look around us. Everyone is stuck. What difference does a few more minutes make? We have plenty of time. Let's move slowly and peacefully." The driver nodded and gently pressed the brakes. The BMW came to a stop near the signal. As Imtiaz looked outside through the tinted glass, his eyes fell on a group of women standing by the roadside. Their clothes were old and dirty, their faces looked pale and worn out. Beside them stood small children in torn outfits, barefoot, wandering restlessly. Hunger and helplessness were written all over their innocent faces. Imtiaz felt a deep pang in his heart. He had always been a man who believed in helping others, and seeing this misery right in front of him was unbearable. Without wasting time, he pulled out his wallet, lowered the car window, and began handing out 500 rupee notes to each of the women. With a gentle smile, he said, "Here, take this. Buy something for your children to eat. May Allah ease your difficulties." The women, overwhelmed with gratitude, blessed him with trembling voices. They held the money close to their hearts and walked away slowly, their children tugging at their sides. Imtiaz watched them leave, his heart heavy yet satisfied that he had done a small act of kindness. The traffic started to clear up. The driver was about to move forward when suddenly, tap, 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 a hand knocked on the glass window of the BMW. Imtiaz turned his head. A frail woman with uncombed hair and a trembling voice stood there. She said desperately, "Sir, you forgot me. You didn't give me anything." Something about her face made him look again. Though dirt and exhaustion had masked her features, there was a faint familiarity that struck his heart. He lowered the window once more and stared at her carefully. Then, in shock, the words slipped out of his mouth. "Ya Allah Majibin, is that you?" The woman froze. Tears welled up in her tired eyes. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Yes, Imtiaz, it's me. I am Majibin." Friends, imagine the shock. This wasn't just any beggar on the road. This was his ex-wife, the woman he had married years ago, the woman he had divorced 4 years back. Imtiaz's mind went blank. He remembered the court, the long arguments, the day of separation, and how Majibin had left with 50 lakh rupees as settlement. She had been from a respected family. She could have lived comfortably for years. But now, here she was, in rags, begging at a traffic signal. In disbelief, Imtiaz asked, "Majibin, what happened to you? You came from a good family. You had enough money to live your whole life with dignity. Then why this condition? Why are you begging on the road?" Majibin lowered her eyes. Her tears rolled down her cheeks. With a heavy voice she said, "Imtiaz, please, give me some time, I will tell you everything." Imtiaz inhaled deeply. Without saying more, he instructed his driver, "Open the back door, let her sit inside." The driver obeyed. Majibin hesitated for a moment, but then slowly got into the back seat. But the people outside had seen everything. Whispers started. Shopkeepers, passers-by, and even the other beggar women gathered around the BMW. Their suspicious eyes pierced through the glass. "Why is this rich man taking a poor woman into his car? Is it for some wrong purpose?" Someone murmured. Others shouted, "Sister, is he forcing you? Tell us the truth." Imtiaz clenched his fists in anger. But before he could speak, Majabine raised her voice firmly. "Please, everyone, he is not a stranger. He is my ex-husband, Imtiaz Ahmed. I am going with him willingly. He is not forcing me." The crowd, half convinced, slowly dispersed, though their whispers lingered in the air. Imtiaz chose silence. He knew one word could spark chaos. Instead, he told his driver to drive away immediately. Within minutes, they reached a nearby hotel. Imtiaz handed money to his driver. "Go to the market, buy her new clothes, shoes, and some essentials." The driver left and soon returned with a beautiful blue shalwar camis, sandals, and a small bag. Imtiaz handed them to Majabine gently. "Go freshen up, take a bath, and wear these. You will feel better." Majabine nodded silently and disappeared into the washroom. Half an hour later, she stepped out transformed. Clean, dressed in new clothes, her hair combed, she looked like a different woman. Imtiaz was stunned. Despite the hardships that had carved lines of sorrow on her face, her innocence and beauty remained untouched. For a moment, she looked like the same young bride he had once married. Imtiaz sighed deeply. "Majabine, tomorrow I have urgent work in Lahore, but I will return the next day. Stay here in this hotel. I will arrange your food and everything you need. When I come back, we will sit and talk." Majabine agreed quietly. That night, Imtiaz traveled to Lahore. He finished his meeting, but when night fell and he tried to sleep, he couldn't. His mind was haunted by the image of Majabine at the signal. On the other side, in her hotel room, Majabine too tossed and turned. Questions filled her heart. Would Imtiaz ever forgive her? Did she even deserve his kindness? The next evening, Imtiaz rushed back to Karachi and went straight to the hotel. Majabine was waiting. They sat together, and finally she began to speak. Her voice trembled as she said, "Imtiaz, believe me, I never wanted to divorce you. I was trapped. My own family, my brother, my sister's husband, they saw your wealth and forced me into greed. They said, 'Take divorce, demand a huge settlement, and we will start new businesses.' At first, I resisted, but their poisonous words misled me. In court, I demanded 50 lakh from you and you gave it, but soon after, they took all the money. My brother used it for his wedding, my sister's husband wasted it on business. When everything was gone, they threw me out like garbage. Even my parents turned their backs. They said, 'You are divorced, you are a burden.' I had no roof, no support. I worked in people's homes, scrubbing floors, washing dishes, but insults broke me down. In the end, I was left with no option but to beg. Imtiaz, every night I cried, holding our marriage photo, praying for forgiveness. I ruined everything with my own hands." Her sobs filled the room. Imtiaz's eyes too filled with tears. He realized how greed and manipulation had destroyed her life. After a long silence, he asked softly, "Why didn't you ever come back? My mother missed you. She cried for you." Majabine covered her face and wept. "I was ashamed, Imtiaz. I thought no one would forgive me. I wronged you, I wronged your family. I had no courage to face anyone." The clock struck midnight as they continued speaking. Imtiaz had another meeting in Lahore, so he left again, but his heart stayed restless. In his hotel bed, he wondered, should I give her another chance? She was wrong, but her heart still seems pure. She was misled, but she regrets it deeply. The next day, he returned to Karachi and went straight to Majabine's rented room. The sight pierced his heart. A broken bed, cracked walls, and on the wall hung a single photo, their wedding picture. He asked, almost in disbelief, "Majabine, why do you still keep this?" She broke down. "Because, Imtiaz, I never stopped loving you. I never wanted the divorce. This photo was my only hope, my only reminder that maybe, one day, things would be fine again." Imtiaz's heart melted. He took out his phone and called his mother. "Ammi, do you know who is with me? Majabine, talk to her." The moment his mother's voice came on the line, Majabine cried uncontrollably. "Ammi, forgive me. I made a terrible mistake." Imtiaz's mother's voice trembled too. "Daughter, mistakes happen. You were always like my child. Come home. Everything will be fine again." And so Imtiaz brought Majabine back. His mother welcomed her with open arms, tears of love streaming down her face. She kissed Majabine's forehead and said, "You are home now. The past is gone." Friends, life gave Majabine a second chance. Imtiaz forgave her, gave her responsibilities in his business, and slowly, with love and trust, they began building a new life together. This story teaches us something powerful. Greed can destroy a person, but forgiveness and humanity can rebuild even broken souls. True respect is not measured by money or status, it is measured by the purity of the heart. So remember, whenever life tests you, choose kindness, choose forgiveness, because sometimes giving someone a second chance doesn't just change their life, it heals yours too.